How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on VTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, are still
Fenorian.
And Willis are recovering from a coughing fit, which only happened as soon as Fern said he was going to start recording.
Because of course it did.
Why is this the way things are? And we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. Not that there was a great deal of it this week, but we'll do what we can with what we've got to work with. But first of all, if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server, which you can easily get to by clicking on the link provided in the description underneath the video archive of the show, for as long as those things are intact, because the great purges continue apace.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to stop.
I don't see the appeal. I don't see the appeal in purges. I mean, Stalin seemed to think they were really great, but
I mean, just this week, Avast, the antivirus software, for those that didn't dump it back when it had its data breach, it went and decided it's going to ban Gab and Patriots.win and a bunch of other stuff.
I hear Gab got banned from another bank too.
Yep.
But,
Fourth bank in a month, I think.
But why though?
Wrong think. I'm not joking. That's it. That's the entire reason.
Good grief. Anywho, on the stream today, I'm just playing some Minecraft. Ari busted up the old server again, so we are... Well, it's not the old server, it's actually a new world, but yeah, we're just pottering around on that.
So I wish I even remembered the name of the old server I used, because they were trash.
Mm.
Yeah, and you want to denounce them?
Yeah, but they were so trash, I purged them from my memory and forgot their name.
Yeah.
So I switched to the Apex server, which is the server type everybody uses. It's normally very pricey, but they're one of those things that has a perpetual discount code going if you just go Google it. So you can always find a discount code available. So I got it down to below $10 a month. So I booted up I paid a quarter for a quarterly Minecraft server, and we have a Minecraft server again. Although we had to nuke the old world because it was on the old server, and screw that noise.
Well,
You know how long I spent digging that hole?
Well, now there's a new hole to dig. There's many more holes to dig.
Yeah, I was having all kinds of issues with the control interface. The mod interface didn't work. It didn't use any kind of mod API that made any sense at all. It didn't let you select the type of server you wanted to run. It didn't let you switch the type of server you ran. It didn't let you copy your role and back it up. It didn't let you manually reset your server. It didn't let you... It was just a pain. It was lacking so many features, and all of a sudden I understood why this thing was $4 for a quarter.
Yeah. Particularly with Minecraft, there's a lot of bad hosts out there. And a lot of them are still sticking around from when Minecraft was at its peak.
Yeah, and that one had...
Well, we know this easy way to make a quick buck. All you got to do is host some Minecraft servers.
On a potato PC.
Yeah, so this thing... And the thing was having lag spikes up and down. We've had 3 or 4 minor lag spikes that lasted for like 30 seconds on this one. That was probably just the server backing up.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it. This server's run smooth as butter, and it's in Texas, and Ferns had no problems with it.
Yep. I've had a couple of hiccups, but that's about it. The only time I really notice the lag is if I start placing blocks too quick.
Yeah, so the new server info is in the announcements tab if you want to come join us. It's currently just me, Fern, and Abo. We are doing stuff. I have been fishing a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Whenever there is fishing available in a game, Ari just can't help himself. He's got to park next to the water and fish up every fish in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're up to like 2,000 cod now.
Yeah, that's a lot of fish. So, you guys basically on the stream, this is all pre-recorded because Minecraft and OBS don't work so good together on my computer. It seems to accelerate the chance of crashing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a reason for it. It just has that property.
It's a combination of OBS, Minecraft, or rather anything Java related, it seems, and my graphics card.
Yeah, they just don't play nice together. Because he was fine all week just playing casually with us. The second he boots up OBS, 15 minutes into it, it crashes.
Yeah.
His whole computer green screens.
Although it's been fine ever since then, so, yeah.
It seems to be doing better.
Yeah, there's another Java update there, so if I install that, will it make it worse or will it make it better? I don't know.
We can't bank on its cooperation for the duration of the show is the issue.
Yeah, so we
Yes,
pre-record.
that's why
we
it's all
pre-recorded.
pre-recorded.
Yeah, so it's just pre-recorded footage.
So basically, I
So-
just spent the whole morning building my house, upgrading it. It's actually starts off. Well, it doesn't look like a construction site anymore.
Yeah,
People in
looking
your
at it.
building things above ground. I just don't understand.
I could build an underground evil lair. I
yeah.
might do
Abus,
that.
I'm not allowed to go look at his dungeon.
Yeah, he's doing something.
I have been barred from peeking.
That might be.
Well, he's probably afraid you'll set up wobble pillars in there.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean, he is not wrong, but
So yeah. Anyway, Minecraft is a thing again.
so yeah, just go to the announcements board if you want to get the web host server name and the IP address. I don't think you need to punch in the web host server name. Some of them you do, some of them you don't, but that's what I listed it as.
For me,
It's any video.
yeah, for me, it preferred it logged in better with the web server. I just got a false positive on the IP address for some reason, so
Yeah. So capital NE lowercase Games with a Z .apexmc.co.
Okay. So, shall we dive into weeks then?
Sure. Go for and go, because you and me are going to overlap a lot again.
We are going to overlap quite a lot because both Ari and I we caved. Both of us.
Well,
And played
It was-
full price for a new title.
yes.
So I didn't because I don't have 113 spare dollars to throw away.
Yeah. The problem is because of the game we bought, I very much doubt the price is going to drop anytime soon. So, but we both caved and bought Persona 5 Strikers.
yep, you're a bit further than I am in it.
Yeah, I finished the first jail, as they call them.
The new dungeons.
The new dungeons. They're still, at this point in the game, establishing how a jail differs from a palace, but we'll get there.
So, before you get too into it, I had to leave the dungeon.
Oh,
I couldn't do it in one shot.
no, you can't.
It was completely impossible.
Yeah, you can't.
I had no SP on anybody at all, and I did not know how to properly prepare in this game.
Yeah, because when you start out the game, you have very limited resources, like recharge items are very, very limited, your money is extremely limited, and your characters are fairly squashy.
Is there an excuse for? Is there a suitable in-game excuse for why you are no longer a physical god?
Igor's on vacation.
Yeah. Eagle's on
Really?
vacation, so you're using Lavenza's merging stuff.
Apparently, he took the Persona Compendium with him on vacation.
Yeah, that's the excuse.
That's a little bit inconsiderate of him.
It doesn't explain why the rest of the party has not got their advanced personas or anything like that.
Yeah, so we have another one of these scenarios where a proper sequel to a mainline Persona game, because Strikers takes place a year later-ish, just
6
like
months.
Persona 4 Arena. Yeah, just like Persona 4 Arena did. And all the characters from the previous game don't have their awakened personas.
Mm-hmm. So that's a
Like-
thing.
Like, lol, what?
So yeah,
everyone's
everyone's back to square one.
Yeah, and they only know Zio and Bufu and Agi and Dia. None of the big spells.
Yeah, I think it's very briefly hand-waved at one point because, it's been 6 months, we're rusty. Yeah. No,
You don't go rusty. You don't go that rusty that quickly.
no, you don't. And if you do, you get it back pretty quick.
It was Bufu what for the big one?
So yeah, you know.
Bufu Din, Bufu Dice. I can't remember.
Bufudine. My Bufudine.
Yeah, but they forgot it.
My Bufudine on the ice-absorbent monsters, Mitsuru. All these years and I still haven't forgiven her in Persona 3.
My name's Mitsuru, and I cast Bufu on things
Yes, that heal
when
from
I'm not
ice.
when I'm not casting Marin Karen at the boss again, even though it just showed it was immune to it.
Yes. I'm not sure if it was particularly Mitsuru, but yeah. The AI, when left to its own devices in Persona 3, could do some really dumb things.
Oh, you can't use Mitsuru in Persona 3. It's impossible.
No, you just can't.
As long as her persona has Marin Karen on it, you cannot use Mitsuru.
Yeah, she will just keep throwing Marin Karen.
She will attempt to charm the boss over and over and over and over again. If it doesn't pop up immune and literally say immune, it can have a 0.001% chance to land. She will cast it forever.
Yep. And I ran into the same problem with Mudo Mutt.
Oh yeah,
if you are playing the original where there's AI control, but if you hold on, let me reformulate my question. That problem goes away when you don't have AI control, right? Because you can just direct them to do what you want. Is there still AI control mode in that game?
Yes, in the PSP version.
Does the problem still exist? Like, did they fix that problem?
No.
Specifically? So the only way to fix it is to control it yourself.
Yes.
They didn't fix the fact that the AI is completely retarded.
No, that's still perfectly intact.
Yeah, but you have the option to turn it off, and why you would ever let AI control on in the first place, I'll never know.
Now, for the male characters that were a little dumber, they did fix it because you have slightly different growth rates for the male characters because the female protagonist has a different interaction set with them and they get different skills.
Mm-hmm.
But all the female characters get the exact same stuff they got in the original game. So they do the exact same thing that they used to. So that means Mitsuru is still terrible. But you can make Akihiko less useless.
Yeah, you can. At least Yukiko will just sit in the corner and heal when set to AI.
Well, that's her job.
Yeah. Not Yukiko,
Yeah, Yukari.
Yukari, thank you. Anywho, Persona 5 Strikers. I went into this game expecting something a lot more Dynasty Warriors than Persona, but it's the other way around.
Yeah, it's a lot more Persona than Dynasty Warriors, which is the only reason I've been able to stick with it.
Yeah. So you, without going into too much in the way of story spoilers at this point, because I can't really spoil too much.
Well, we're only at the first chapter. We can pretty much talk about we can talk about anything we've experienced. I think pretty safely.
Combat is essentially it's Dynasty Warriors combat, but everything else is Persona. You don't have the massive sprawling battles most of the time that Dynasty Warriors is famous for. It's more of a small, like you'll find a shadow walking around, then you ambush it or get ganked by it, whatever, and it will split into maybe 40 or 50 enemies at most.
Yeah.
And that's your battle. You beat them up and you win.
Yep. So, right out the gate, I like that you can play as any character in the party.
Yep.
Right after the tutorial, you can only play as Joker during the tutorial. But once you go back in with everybody and go to beat the dungeon proper, everybody's unlocked immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pick who you want to.
Except for Pancakes for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, Pancakes is maybe dead.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up again, honestly.
It's even more ambiguous at the end of Royal.
They changed the scene, or
the last chapter in Royal involves time shenanigans and alternate realities. So
Pancakes is probably around somewhere.
So why would that be necessary?
So Pancakes can be a party member in his evil form for the last chapter of Royal.
For reasons. So yeah,
it works. It works for him. It caps off his character a bit.
Yeah. So the combat is I'm finding it very skill based for the most part. You need to still hit enemies with the element that they're weak to in order to knock them down and build combos, as well as trigger all out attacks, which is basically just an AOE blast on that point.
Or you could just get good with Haru and Sophie.
Or you could get good with Haru and Sophie. You don't even need to get good with Haru. Haru is just good.
Yeah, she went from useless girl with too much gun skills in a cast where everybody can use gun skills to big wild wallops with charge attacks that have timing requirements but hit like Mack trucks on steroids and one-shot bosses.
Yes, well, thankfully big bosses she doesn't, but yeah. Although the first boss is immune to Sai, so there's that. Every character has their own...
Haru, but I felt like she suffered from appears too late in the game.
She appears way too late in the game to be of any decent.
Somebody am I?
Oh, there you go. You're caught up now. But yeah, she has late character syndrome in Persona 5.
Yeah.
But I pegged Haru for your waifu originally when you played the game.
Well, I did like her. The problem is that you spend almost no time with her.
Yep.
Thankfully, she's here from the start now, and you do get to see a lot more of her. And she still has this weird thing where every now and again she'll say something that makes it feel like she comes from the planet Zog, but
Well, she's a rich girl. She does come from the
she
planet
does
Zog,
come from the
relative
planet
to the rest
Zog.
of us.
Yes.
She's the son of the CEO of McDonald's. What do you want?
I mean, yeah. Also,
Daughter,
there's so
I
much wrong with
presume.
just how you phrase that.
Wait, hang on. Yes, daughter of the CEO of McDonald's.
That's a bit better.
Been reading too much news.
I think the short brain
The
is rubbing
news-
off on you.
I think it might be.
It might be.
So yeah,
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Yeah, so when fighting, you need to manage your elements as well, which for the most part means you need to combo into whatever elemental spell, which is just you keep mashing your X until it's time to press Y, or square
Because
until it's
if
time
you-
to press triangle, whichever you're on.
Because if you don't and you manually cast it, you use SP that you need for healing.
And you need a lot of it, especially
Because
early game.
every character is squished as all get out except for Haru.
Except for Haru, yeah. Especially Joker. And Joker, I think, has a big problem. Because every character's got their unique system. Like, for the new character, Sophie, you need to time your attacks in order for her to catch her yo-yos and increase damage and combo. At which point, if you do it enough times in a row, she just kind of explodes and everything dies.
Yeah, so you throw your attack out with Sophie, she throws her yo-yos, and she does whatever the yo-yo animation is. And when it comes back to her hands, you'll see them flash very briefly, and you gotta tap the button again at that flash to make her do the next version of the attack that comes out even harder.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll do a different move, and the more of these you string together, and then press the finisher button, you get a different finisher that hits harder and harder.
Yeah. Or if
so Sophie's cool.
Sophie is very cool.
I love playing as Sophie. She's so much fun.
Yeah. Her non-comboed finisher is just, buff. She gives herself a buff.
That makes her yo-yos go... And makes her yo-yos longer.
So she's good. We'll come to actually her story elements later on. Joker's big deal, though, is he's still got the wild card, so he can switch personas. Problem is that means you need to stop and grind with Joker.
Yeah.
You can level up personas just using persona points as you get them, but you never seem to have enough.
Yeah, and they increase exponentially if you level up the same persona too much, like in the original game.
Yeah.
The amount needed eventually gets insane.
Yeah, and sooner or later you'll eventually hit a point where you just need to stop and grind with Joker.
Or fuse some sonas.
And sometimes even then you need to do both.
Yeah. Thankfully, your experience is shared in a grand Exp pool. So this is both a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Where every persona doesn't level up automatically with Joker. You have to go back to the Velvet Room and choose what personas you want to dump the EXP into.
Yep.
This is good in that you don't wind up wasting levels if you have to use a persona you don't particularly want to level up because it has the right element affinities you need at that moment. But it also means while you're grinding through the dungeon, you're not leveling up.
Yeah. So Joker will himself level up, which just increases your persona cap, but he gets no power from that.
He gets a slight HP and SP up, and that's it.
That's it.
He gets no base stats.
Yeah. Which also means, because this is a much more skill-based game, rather than traditional Persona, which is all turn-based, a squishy Persona makes a huge difference on Joker. So you can make him a glass cannon, but if you get hit, Joker will go down. There is
I had my Joker
there is
get
no
one
if,
shot.
buts, or maybes about that.
Yeah, Joker just kind of dies if he has anything that doesn't have at least like 6 endurance in the first dungeon.
Yep.
He's just gonna die.
Yeah.
He can get a love tap from something moderately big and it's just gonna kill him.
Yeah, fair warning, by the way. The first boss has her second phase has like 2 attacks that if you get caught by the first hit, you're basically wrecked. She'll just keep comboing until that character is dead. Haru can survive it, and that's it.
That's because Haru's best girl.
Yeah, and even then, if Haru gets the first hit, usually she will also go down. So, yeah, my team currently is Joker, Mona, Haru, and Sophie. Because, I take the worst cat for Healbot. Which he does sometimes.
Yeah, Makoto's better at heal botting because she doesn't die instantly,
Yeah,
and Mona doesn't use the truck nearly enough.
yeah. The
Like you
truck,
have,
especially the truck power dive, is really, really good. But he doesn't
like,
use it.
honey, you can turn into a fucking, you can turn into a car.
Yeah. So yeah, the AI for Mona is a bit wonky. But he's also got this big wind wheel attack, which is extremely good. And the AI almost never uses that either.
Yeah.
So yeah. To keep in the Fantasy Warriors theme, everyone has a Showtime attack as well, which is basically your Musu attack once the gauge builds up. Which, yeah, it takes a while, but you can speed it up by tagging between characters as you go. You do your baton pass. And every time you do that, provided you've got the right skill unlocked, then that builds up that charge. And in most cases, it's just a big AoE blast attack. So that's just another toy to play with, really. Although all of them, except for Joker, have a fun animation to go along with it. Joker just kind of jumps up in the air, summons his persona, it goes boom, and that's it.
Yeah, because they can't write one for every Sona.
Yeah.
Because they lazy.
Because you can't. That would take forever.
But yeah, I've surprisingly enjoyed what I played of it. I don't like this style of game. I don't know why I don't like it. There's no reason I shouldn't like Dynasty Warriors games.
I mean, you've got Yusuke now. And Yusuke is Virgil, as you said.
Yeah, he's just Virgil.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like it's right up your alley then. What's not to like?
I mean, if I could permanently replace Joker with Yusuke, I'd have a perfect team to run with where I like every character I'm playing with.
Yeah. That you gotta have Joker. Joker, because he's got to be so universal, it makes him very bland to play, honestly.
Yeah, and he's got such short range compared to everybody. Even Makoto has better range than him, and she uses punchy weapons.
Thankfully, actually, as you play characters, you unlock skills for him. In Joker's case, his neutral X just becomes shoot. You unlock the skills to make that infinite ammo pretty quick. So it doesn't consume ammo if you actually use it that way rather than aiming. Shortly after that, you'll receive the a skill which guarantees a one more attack whenever you do that. So basically, you can get an infinite combo where you just shoot an enemy, press the one more attack button. Joker will immediately fly from wherever the hell he is straight into the enemy's face, and then you can just start infinite comboing.
Yeah, but Sophie's just more fun to play.
Yeah. Sophie is a lot more fun because yo-yos.
Yeah, because yo-yos are fun.
So yeah, gameplay is fine. The biggest thing I have actually is keeping track of what the enemies can be doing sometimes, because it is Persona 5 and it is very stylistic, but that also means lots of particle effects.
Yeah, I can't ever tell where an enemy's casting a spell and where it's going to hit.
Yeah, some spells will put a target on the ground, but others don't.
Just depends on how it's feeling that day.
Yeah, some will hit you while you're in the air above it, others won't. So, yeah. And trying to keep track of it all is a very big thing in a lot of fights. Have you actually made it to the what is it called? The Lockkeeper?
I'm at the third tower. I haven't gone to it yet.
Okay, you're about to get to the Lockkeeper then.
Yeah.
It's a very standard boss. It's just a big old sack of hit points, but it's weak to everything. But it keeps summoning ads. So it's hard to keep track of what it's doing when you've got all these pumpkin jacks flying around all over the place.
Ah, the good old pumpkin jack.
Which, or jack-o'-lanterns, I should say. Pumpkin jack. I don't know. But,
pump caboose.
Pump caboose. It can make it very hard to see what this boss is doing to avoid his attacks and his telegraphs. And I've had times where I could swear I've pressed the dodge button at the right moment, but I still get hit anyway, so there's that. Anywho, so yeah, it is still a lot of fun to play, despite all the little niggles that we've picked up on it. The first jail as you go into it is huge. Although, Ari, you're about done with the exploration phase of it.
Yeah, it's huge with a Y in all caps.
It is huge. And if it's going to follow the Persona formula, all the following ones will be huger.
Yes. Very huger.
Very huger. Which means because it's a Persona 5 game, everything's going to come down to the story. Alright, so you've got Joker who's come back into to town for a holiday, and basically there is people having personality shifts all of a sudden, and the police just in the immediate cutscenes go, there's people having personality shifts. Let's just go arrest Joker.
Makes sense to me.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
I'm on board with this plan.
Yeah. Like, this case, let's just not screw around. We'll just go arrest the guy who was doing it last time.
Fern, I just got an ominous banner. What does that do?
Ominous banner? Looks weird.
Okay, it's got an orange text.
Yeah. I don't think it actually does anything particular. It just looks weird.
Okay.
So, yeah. What essentially you've got is people who have seen what the Phantom Thieves have done and figured, on some level anyway, hey, why can't I do that too? So, people are starting to steal other people's desires, which is essentially their treasures. Except not manifest or something? I don't know. They don't have explained that properly yet.
It's like the way it's portrayed with Alice, the first baddie, is she steals their desires, and their desires become fixated on Alice. That's all they care about.
Yeah. So they want to spoil her merch and propose to her as soon as they see her, and yeah.
Yeah, and you have like a TV show host on an interview with her, bowing down before her and trying to propose to her live on set, despite his wife being sitting right next to him and stuff.
Yeah. So that kind of thing. They are following the 7 Deadly Sins thing again by the look of it. So this is the prison of lust. So, yeah. To facilitate
I don't know why they're doing that, because last time that was a holdover from the original design of Persona 5 that got scrapped.
Yeah. The bosses loosely had that theme, but the further down we went, the looser those became.
Yeah. And I'm really upset they're not going with the Royal timeline either, as the canon timeline, because the Royal timeline doesn't fix all the problems, but it makes a whole lot of strides in fixing a whole lot of the more glaring issues with the story.
Plus it adds another character.
Yeah, and Kasumi is best girl, because Kasumi's the only girl that goes, what y'all's doing's wrong, stop it, bad, no.
Yep. So, what this whole thing looks like, after playing through the first jail, it looks like one of the big themes of this game is going to be holding a mirror up to the Phantom Thieves. Like, everything else does is basically Arn, except gone horribly wrong.
I hope so. Can we please just get a cutscene where somebody goes, what if we're the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
It's from a comic skit, though.
So, yeah, other people have started stealing hearts, and they're using it for their own ends. Like, at least the Phantom Thieves had the thin veneer that they were doing the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Yes, he's them.
Yes. But let's face it, what you're actually doing is brainwashing people.
Yeah, it would have been more moral to just kill them.
Well, the thing is that I don't feel like they're doing it. Like, ultimately, I don't feel like they're doing it for the right reasons. Because, like I've complained about multiple times, the underlying motivation is just lashing out at society, which isn't the right reason for anything. But that's, you know, they have a more concrete and direct objective later toward the very end of the story. But initially, it's just I'm frustrated with my situation and I want to lash out using whatever tools are at my disposal. That's their motivation, which is about as far from laudable as you can get.
It's kind of when they reach that point too, is when they actually manifest their personas.
Yeah, and that's what my my core thematic objection to the story has always been, is that the fundamental story beat is rebellion is a good thing, doesn't matter what or why.
Yeah,
which just makes no sense to anybody who thinks about it for more than half a second.
Yeah, some of the party members' stories are rather weak on the rebellion theme, so in some cases it's just rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's
Oh,
not
really?
They
just-
really are just sort of shoehorning it in. So.
Yeah, like some of them are there because they're being oppressed by an injustice or something like that, but not all of them.
It's just you could try and write a fun story with that, but they just drop it with the villains.
Yeah, the villains are too cartoonish.
You can't do a bunch of angry teenagers story if your villains are so cartoony that they're not relatable to people in the real world.
Yeah, only the final villain really had some chops to him, and even then it was still...
Even then, he was a cartoon character.
He was still a cartoon character, yeah.
And I mean, they were anime villains before, but there's a fine line between an anime villain and a cartoon character.
Yeah. Like, I think Kamoshida was fine as he was because he was the opening villain. And
But
it's fine for the opening villain to be just a bit silly. Or in his case,
then we have-
weird and creepy.
yeah, but then we have Burger Man.
Oh yeah, he exists. He turns into a piggy.
No, that's Gangster Man.
Oh, that is Gangster Man, yeah.
Burger Man turns into Darth Vader, and you can't hear what he's saying because the audio mixing's awful.
That's right. I completely forgot about him.
Everybody does. They try to purge that dungeon from their memory.
Yeah,
It's the dungeon they had to cut almost half of it out in Royal
because it was bad.
because it just kept repeating corridors.
Yeah, because it was bad. So, yeah. It looks like Royal... The way they've set it up, they're in a prime position to really address kind of the hypocrisy of the Phantom Thieves.
They're not going to.
I very much doubt they're going to. Instead, we've got Sophie, who's an AI, and she turns up around the same time everyone is starting to download this app, Emma, which is... I'm going to say evil Alexa, but it's going to be Alexa.
Alexa's going to be the final boss. I'm calling
Alexa
it now.
will be Shadow Sophie. I'll tell you
Can
now.
you play Skyrim?
Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, end up in the Skyrim opening. You're welcome. So yeah, I'm already going to call it. Emma is Shadow Sophie.
Yeah, I'm calling it Emma's the final boss.
Yeah. Instead, I'd much rather the final boss be Joker's Shadow, but that's not going to happen.
No, it's gonna be Alexa.
Yeah. From where I'm up to in the story, you're only in Shibuya for the first dungeon, which, by the way, for some reason doesn't disappear after you solve it, like the palaces did. They have no idea why.
Oh, so they can keep going back to it?
Probably. I haven't tried to actually go back to it yet. It's still there. And which is convenient for plot reasons for like a minute. Because as you get the new policeman ally, and he's portrayed too hard in the beginning to be the bad guy. Like they're trying to make him seem like a credible threat or just someone to be incredibly suspicious of initially. So you just know he's going to be a friend for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he's going to be your sixth ranger at the last minute.
Zenkichi, I believe his name was.
Yeah, Zenkichi
I actually
Hasegawa.
really enjoy him, though. He is so much fun to watch, because aside from having his mental breakdown when he goes in the metaverse for the first time, which is hilarious, he's just a complete insufferable smartass. And it's wonderful. So
Yeah.
he's going to join, and I think he'll be there till the end, unlike Akechi.
Yeah, unlike Pancakes.
Unlike Pancakes.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Pancakes tried to make him seem like he's going to be a friend for too much, for him not to turn evil.
Yeah, well, no.
They didn't really do a very good job of hiding it either.
No, they really did a really sloppy job with that.
It was all game over. It was all game over from Pancakes.
Yeah. Pancakes is a meme for a reason when it comes to the Persona 5 story.
Yeah.
I guess whoever wrote it thought they were being subtle, but no.
I mean, they've got Pancakes in the bag. He could have just been a figment of Joker's imagination the whole time. That's totally plausible with the way the ending of Persona 5 Royal went.
Maybe?
But
and then you woke up and it was all a dream.
that's kind of, but everybody remembers it.
So no.
So it actually happened, and there's real damage from it.
So he's just pretending it's a dream, so it's to avoid guilt. Lovely.
No. It's quite possibly entirely a dream.
Oh dear.
It's very. You got to play it. It's weird.
Yeah.
I do recommend playing it if you're a hardcore Persona fan, though.
Yeah.
Just to clean some of the grease that Persona 5 might have left in your system.
Like, Persona 5 is by no means a bad game. It's just got... The story is not as good as it should be.
No, it's not what we expect. And even Royal doesn't patch it up all the way. It just makes steps in the right direction.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping Strikers will address the hypocrisy in that story. But I doubt it will.
It's not. They've bought into this so hard at this point and are selling this on the franchise itself. There's no way they'll do any kind of introspection. They want these characters to stay just as they are so they can keep marketing them.
Yeah. Because, yeah, that's they are marketable. They've built them up, and now everyone knows who these characters are.
I heard you catch your catchphrase off there.
Yeah, I hate you for pointing that out, because now I'm saying it all the time.
You said it all the time before.
I'm not saying it now. Shush.
What's his catchphrase?
Let's face it. That's Fern's catchphrase.
I hate you so much.
Is it? Huh. I guess I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like Persona 5, Persona 5 Strikers is not a bad game. It is actually a very good game.
As long as you don't play Joker.
As long as you don't play Joker. But, I think that's probably why I'm more annoyed with Persona 5 than anything else, is because it's an excellent game. But it's just let down by these big gaping holes in its story.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same feel with strong characters like 4 did. It doesn't have the same big narrative that 3 did that tells it really well. It's no Persona 2 that does everything great and is the perfect JRPG. But it's just kind of bleh in everything. They took the easy route with everything.
Yeah, but it's wrapped in really good gameplay and loads of style.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah. I suppose the most common objection to that line of argument is, oh, you're just being an edgelord.
No.
Like, you want it to be edgy.
No.
No, because most people like
because
Persona 4
the thing is that's not true.
It's not
because you're... That's not true by a mile. Like, people don't like 4 more than 5, and people don't like 3 more than 5. People like 5 the most because it's the newest, and you don't have to like it, Aristeel, but you're getting old.
No.
And what you're not perceiving is that the largest single bulk of people are Johnny come latelys who like the new one, and the reason they like the new one is because it's got a shallow and accessible story.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm not getting old. No, I refuse.
It's simply a question of do people actually want a deep story, or do they want some, appealing, superficial theme like rebel against the power, man?
I mean, Hollywood exists, so I think we already have our answer there.
Yeah, like we live in the era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is one movie which has been released 5 zillion times.
The era of the cash cow.
Moo.
That's the trajectory of our entertainment, and I feel like that Persona 5 is a product of that environment. That's what people are looking at. They want the flash and the bang and the whiz, but they don't want any real depth to it.
Yeah.
Which is why there are so many problems with Persona 5 compared to the other ones. And the thing is that they do a very good job of just sort of skating over them. Until you usually have sat down and actually thought about the way the narrative is put together, you won't even notice them.
Yeah, I didn't notice them initially until
it whizzes by really fast.
Yeah.
I only noticed it because I'm constantly thinking about these things in video games. Like my fundamental question that I ask any setting is, do they have coherent metaphysics? And that's almost never true, but the interesting thing is, in what ways do their metaphysics fall down? And the fact is that Persona 5 metaphysics are on the level of the MCU. That's how much they've thought about that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was less of that and more just a sinking lack of memorability with a lot of the story beats that went through. Because I can remember most of the story beats from 3, 4, and 2, but I can't remember most of them from 5 until I went and replayed it with Royal. And even then, it's starting to fade again.
Really, doing 5, you remember it clearer because you played Royal, but the main beats are Kamoshida, then Futaba, a quick mention of Sai in there, and then the final boss.
Yeah, but I can tell you most of what was in every dungeon and every character's motivation in 4. I can tell you most of the grand arching parts of 3. I can tell you almost everything about 2.
Yeah.
I can't tell you a dang thing about any of the specifics of 5, even though I played Royal recently.
Yeah.
It was only a year ago.
So yeah, as a Persona game and as an SMT game, Persona 5 does come up short on the story side of things. Also, I do remember the cutscene with Arn wearing like 50 jumpers.
Yeah, everything to do with Yosuke is hard to forget because Yosuke's amazing.
He is incredible, and he is so hammy. And he continues the ham in Strikers, by the way.
Is easily the best thing that happened that came out of Persona 5 was Yosuke.
Yeah, so gloriously ham. So I'm not saying don't play it because both games are still great. We're nitpicking for the most part.
I would say with Royal out, it's the definitive way to experience the story now. If you haven't played 5, just play Royal. It glasses over a lot of the complaints that me and Vala brought up, and it eases a whole lot of the memorability factor by restructuring some of these stupid dungeons so they're not going through Burgerland in the machine factory for like 10 hours per run.
Or, spending 10 hours on the cruise ship in identical corridors.
Yeah, they cut out most of the mice parts.
The mice parts were the worst. Like, the mice were cute, but it was, yeah.
That used to be 3 or 4 rooms of mice. Now it's just 2 big rooms.
Okay, that's better.
But and Strikers, I'm excited to see where it goes, but I'm having trouble sitting down and just keeping playing it because this genre of game just doesn't click with me.
Yeah, I can sit down and keep playing these games, although Strikers, because of the way Dynasty Warriors and Yamusu games tend to work, is you kind of get in there and then you just button mash for hours on end. But you can't do that really with Strikers because you got to stop for a story beat. Or in some cases, because of the way your stats are initially, you've got to stop, go to a checkpoint, leave the dungeon, then immediately turn around and go straight back inside again.
Does that have any negative repercussions?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So why do we even have to leave then why don't we just get our SP back when we go back to a checkpoint?
I don't know. It resets the shadows that are around the place if you do.
But so does walking too far away from them.
So does leaving the room. So I see absolutely no reason why you have to go out and then come back in again to do a full recharge. Why not just you touch a checkpoint, full recharge, here you go.
This is a big thing about the game, early game anyway. It's just how much, if you're not used to a Dynasty Warriors game, you're just going to get your butt handed to you.
Yeah, you've got to learn the dodge mechanic. If you don't, you will get plastered.
Also, I posted a picture of Sophie. Sophie's adorable.
Sophie is best. Sophie is a lot of fun. And she does have that thing where she takes things a little bit too literally, but they don't overplay it like a lot of the people do when they use that trope.
I don't know that that's true at all.
Oh yeah, she warms up very quickly. So when she initially turns up, she's doing it. But even by the end of the first dungeon, she's snarking.
When she gets the first request from Ryuji is just to test her out, go buy me a bar of gold, and she has a delivery man show up at the house instantly with a bar of gold.
Yeah.
And an invoice for $1 gajillion inside.
Yeah. That's, I think, about the turning point where she goes from being literal to being snarky.
But Sophie's adorable and she has yo-yos.
And she has yo-yos. And a Mega Buster.
Yes, and a Mega Buster.
So yeah, go play.
Also, we'll talk more about it as time goes on and give you a better.
My biggest gripe about Strikers is the price.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. My biggest gripe about this game is the price.
Yeah, beyond that,
because the reality is that that's not a game that I'm going to buy. But if I would probably put money into it if I had a lot of free time, so I knew it was going to be something. Oh well, I'm going to put money into this, and I'm just going to sink all my free time into it for a few weeks. That would be a different scenario to, well, the amount of free time I've got is extremely limited, and I just don't want to drop a huge chunk of change on something that I don't know how much I'm going to get to play it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I've got
the only thing that will drive me in the direction of getting it is the simple lack of other good content that's coming out these days. Yeah,
like, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm looking forward to, but I know you two probably won't be.
No, yeah. I'm waiting for the remake of Fate Extra. That's where I'm at.
I'm just waiting for Silk Song.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's ever going to come out.
Yeah,
it could come out. It could happen. It's not impossible.
The hype is too much for it to actually come out.
It's going to approach Duke Nukem. We're going to get Duke Nukem forever, aren't we?
Yeah, I hope not. Like, I think when the game does come out, it's still going to be great, but yeah.
A lot of those games have been making their way to the surface eventually lately.
Yeah. In one form or another.
And I trust Team Cherry because they delayed their free patches quite a bit for the sole purpose of making sure the game worked and making it good. And all of their free expansion content was like a $15 expansion's worth of content in the game for free. So I'll leave the benefit of the doubt with Team Cherry for now.
Yeah. Like games I've got on the horizon, Evil Genius 2, I'm going to play the ever-loving hell out of. Unless it turns out to be really bad. But, I mean, one of the evil geniuses is Hillary Clinton, who sounds like Judi Dench. So, also has a spider chair. She has that. So, I mean, they're not shying away from making the game memorable. What else is coming up that I'm interested in? You've got, I'm not sure if it's a remaster or a remake or a re-release. Or just a massive update of Binding of Isaac is coming out in a month.
It's one of those Skyrim deals where Binding of Isaac is on literally everything.
Yeah. I think it's an expansion.
It's been released a few times now as well, hasn't it?
Well, its initial version was done in Flash. And it kind of reached a point where nothing more could be done with that version of the game.
Does Flash still exist? Is that still a thing?
Nope. Start of the year, it went poof.
Why does the Evil Geniuses 2 dev blog advertisement at the end have a Baked Alaska reference?
I mean, reasons? Can you think of a more evil dessert?
No, that is not what I... No. You don't understand.
You really don't understand.
Okay, this is something I'm missing.
Baked Alaska is the moniker for a certain individual who has... He's got a room temperature IQ, but a very loud voice.
I see.
But he is also he's the sort of Trump supporter you don't want to be seen with.
Ah, I see.
He's loud and enthusiastic, but he doesn't have the brains God gave a kumquat.
I just posted it in the live show chat. It's literally right there. In all caps, on the second to last sentence.
Hang on. Let me get Discord behave itself so I can look.
The modern meme about Baked Alaska, because he sort of rose to prominent around the same sort of time as Gamergate was getting really fiery.
Oh no, that's not a Baked Alaska reference as in the YouTuber. That is because you literally set a death rate on Alaska.
But they could phrase it a zillion different ways.
They're referring to dessert.
Yeah, there's a dessert called Baked Alaska, but if this actually does have a political overtone, it probably is a reference.
I mean, Evil
With
Genius
the-
3, the third Evil Genius is literally Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and that's why I think that it might still be a reference, because he how do I explain this? He is a nobody, but because he is loud, he has been given excessive and undue prominence by the media.
He's
Like-
a convenient idiot for
Yeah,
their causes.
he's a stupid nobody. Like, I don't mean stupid in that I deplore him. I mean stupid in that he's really not very clever, and he is of no consequence. Has done very little of any consequence, and he's like an internet meme lord basically. And the media chose him to be their representative of the Trump base. And so he gets brought up all the time and shown on TV all the time and that sort of thing, even though he's a total nobody with no influence or anything.
He's a handy stooge.
Yeah, he is a handy straw man that they can use as a useful, not a useful idiot in the traditional definition of the word. He's just an idiot who is useful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a totally regular kind of idiot.
I see.
just an idiot who is available for use.
Yeah. So no, in that case, I'm pretty sure they're referring to the dessert.
No, they're not. Not with that villain. Not with literal Hillary Clinton as in the trailer where this is attached to it.
I wouldn't assume that it was a reference were it not for the fact that he suddenly shot to prominence again in the Capitol riots.
Yeah, because he was one of the ones inside the Capitol.
Everybody had forgotten about him until he started appearing on television everywhere.
I honestly have never seen.
Which is well, of course not. You don't follow this particular type of news, but everybody in the target market practically is in America. So,
yeah. Anywho,
we have another
video
game to talk
games.
about too, Fern.
What's that?
Minecraft.
Minecraft. We'll do it for your week.
Okay, we'll save it for mine. Okay.
Yeah, we're banging along, so it's time for Vols.
right, I don't have a great deal to talk about. It was a very, very rough and busy week, as it often has been, and is not likely to simmer down anytime soon because apparently the boss is coming to visit down from Auckland next week, so everybody's going to be flailing about like an idiot.
But Makoof.
Yeah, he's coming down from the allegedly quarantined area. The whole Coof situation is becoming even more frustrating to me than it was already, because the people have started to ascribe this very strange supernatural quality to the government.
Oh no.
Like, they aren't afraid of the Coof at all, unless the government declares a lockdown. Then suddenly the Coof is really important, and the second the lockdown lifts, the Coof is not important anymore. Like, they leave the decisions over how important it is to worry about the Coof entirely to one Jacinda Ardern. Like, they're literally letting the government think for them, and it's really creepy. And this is not a few people. This is like the mainstream approach.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing down in Melbourne, where people just blindly do what Furo Dan says.
I love
Fury
that
Dan
nickname.
has the single most catastrophic record on COVID of anybody
And
in
yet
in the Australian
decided-
Federation.
Yeah, and someone decided to give him an award for excellence in management or something.
Still
It
better than
is-
an Emmy.
It
I
is
know.
exactly like Cuomo, isn't it? Because Cuomo also has the worst record in the US for
I think
COVID management, doesn't
People
he?
seem to be starting
Yep.
to wake up to that though now.
I forget if it's Cuomo or no, it's Cuomo.
No, it's Cuomo.
No, Newsom is dumber than Cuomo, like conventionally stupid, and so most of the things that Newsom does, people are quite happy to attribute to the fact that he's just retarded, and that's why they're trying to recall him, because they don't want a retard in charge. But in the case of Cuomo, he deliberately sent COVID cases to rest homes, and he was really under the gun for the fact that the rest homes were blowing out the New York budget. And so there's just this really, really convenient connection between a lot of old people dying and Cuomo's budget.
Yeah, he deliberately sent people with the flu to nursing homes so that old people would get the flu, so that when old people with the flu died, the government would say, "Oh, look, possibly the coof. Here's some money, Cuomo."
Yeah, we don't. It's not that. It's that he doesn't have to pay the pensions for those people anymore.
That too.
Which is that's the single biggest problem that New York has, is that they can't support the enormous pension bill.
I guess I don't think about pensions when it comes to state budgets very much in blue states because I just assume they're always there, and it's just one of those things you can't really get rid of.
But New York is one of those states with enormous social benefits that, in an aging population, that have just it's starting to get really out of hand, and it's the thing that's put the biggest hole in the New York budget is trying to manage all of those old people, and there is no clear evidence that there was a deliberate intention to try and kill a whole bunch of old people in the state of New York. However, it just seems to have happened in a very convenient fashion through a deliberate, active action taken by the guy in charge, who also is the guy who has to balance the budget. So you can see why people would be suspicious.
With an active cover-up by all his aides and staffers. That deliberately go out of their way to make sure nobody mentions this or talks about it, period. And is one of the taboo topics.
Yeah, although since they're trying to get rid of Cuomo now, they've just changed the subject. So they need some way of getting rid of him without having to talk about the fact that they supported him up until 5 minutes ago, which is why he's getting Me Too'd over nothing. It sounds to me like the stories that people are bringing to the table about Cuomo are nothing burger. They don't sound. It's not that they don't sound credible; it's that they don't sound like anything of note. Period.
Like they need an excuse to get him out of office now that they realize that, hang on, Orange Man didn't cause this.
No, that's not what they realized. What they realized was, okay, this is getting out of hand with Cuomo. He's doing so much damage to New York. We got to get him gone.
Yeah, but they can't.
If they make it about the coof, they implicate everybody under Cuomo and the other governors who did the exact same thing Cuomo did. Exactly. So they had the brilliant plan. Let's make it about his penis.
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's that. I think that it's that they implicate themselves because they supported him.
Yeah.
I think that they don't want it on the record that they supported a guy that they're now accusing of being a monster.
Yeah. And it is just the base reason of they cannot admit they were wrong.
They seem to be failing to realize that nobody trusts them anymore. Yeah, it's too late for that. That ship has sailed.
That ship has long sailed. So anyway, getting back on topic.
Right, so I'm under stress at work because of the amount of crap that needs to be done because of the boss coming, and I don't think he's going to do anything for us. So I wish he would just stay in his office up north where he can't hurt us because he doesn't know what we're doing. But oh well. Anyway, so mainly I played FGO because that's what I had time to do. And the Seraph is a huge event, so it was taking some time to work my way through that. And I did complete it. It should be finishing, I think, tomorrow, about 24 hours from now, sort of thing. Yeah, it was rough. I made it through. It was easier than last time since I had a better roster to draw from. But the fights, I had forgotten how challenging they could be. But the real tough part was the challenge quests, as always. So normally when they do one of these events, there'll be one challenge quest at the end. There are exceptions, but it's usually one, and it'll be a really tough fight. For Seraph, there are 10 because in Seraph everything is bigger and badder than it was in other events. So the most of these are boss rushes, usually themed after something in particular, like for instance, the 9th boss rush is servants that were in Fate Extra. So most of these I eventually settled on a formula for getting through these, which boiled down to basically put a point servant with a battery in front, blow up the first wave using that servant, because the first wave was usually a big fat lump of hit points creature like a dragon or something, and then swap that one out for Kiyohime, and then have Kiyohime burn everything down. And that actually worked surprisingly well. Like, despite the fact that I'm trying to do modern challenge missions using a 3-star servant, it still worked pretty well. So I think the first 9 of my teams all concerned using Kiahime to do the vast majority of the upfront damage. There were a few difficult ones, like the 9th one was particularly nasty, because there's a lot of servants to soak up your burst damage off the initial entry to that stage, and then you've just got to somehow grind through the end of it. Although I did see a video of someone doing it using just Heracles. Just Heracles.
Glad and Gladiator.
Yeah, he did in fact put the Glad and Gladiator. It was a 10-10-10 level 100 Heracles, but it was just a Heracles solo pretty much. I mean, you can't really solo things in FGO because you've got to have a full front line to start. But yeah, it's doable to do the old fashioned have Herc save the day. But my Herc is not quite so carefully groomed, so I don't really have that option available to me.
The way it keeps going, I think everyone might just have to groom up Hercules because he seems ridiculous.
He is extremely good, but they do, when they really want a challenging fight, they usually will put in some mechanic that makes him an unfavorable pick.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll just have the fight will just last slightly too long, or there'll be some disadvantage to trying to use guts to get through, or something like that.
Can just blow up berserkers.
Yeah, the same way they've done things in the past, like programmed particular challenge enemies to always target Waver / Merlin / Skadi / Tamamo first if they're in the party.
She's strat for you.
Hi, Penny. How you doing, girlfriend? You don't need to beat up Herc that hard.
Yeah, she does.
But
smash.
Yeah. The real challenge, of course, was the 10th challenge quest, the final one, which was King Protea. This is a very, very, very vicious fight and a very long one. The worst part about it is if you screw up and make a mistake, like I did on my first attempt, actually it was my second attempt where I made a mistake. The first attempt I just had bad luck and bad composition. But it's not very friendly. Basically, King Protea doesn't have break bars like most bosses, but what she does have is 2 million hit points. And every turn, she buffs herself with another 500,000 hit points. So she stacks up a ridiculous amount of hit points very, very quickly. And over the course of the fight, she applies several debuffs. The first one is she reduces all healing for your servants by, I think, 90% or something, which basically and that lasts for like the first 7 turns, I think, something like that. So that pretty much wrecks any attempt to use Merlin as your sustain strat, which is rough because Merlin is the go-to for sustain strats. The next 7 turns following that, you get your defense reduced by 50%, I think it is, which basically is the same as taking 50% more damage from everything. So all the damage you receive does 150% damage. Not to mention King Protea's damage is just through the roof at the best of times. And in the 7 turns following that, you get your Noble Phantasm generation reduced by 50%, meaning that you need to have an alternative method of NP generation if you're using Noble Phantasms as your primary sustain mechanism. So yeah, they get you coming and going. It's not a very easy fight, I have to say. The way you do it, there are two primary approaches. Number one, if you can do it, and I think that there are some methods of doing it, although I'm not sure what they are since it wasn't the approach that I took. You can just blow her up in turn 1 before she starts buffing herself. If you can deal 2 million damage right out the gate by some arcane method, you're welcome to try and blow her up that way. The main way you're supposed to do it is that every I think on the 22nd turn, I think she will start to undergo a metamorphosis to her next form. And during that process, all of her stacks are temporarily disabled on her HP. So she will temporarily go back to 2 million hit points, whatever her health was before. She'll be reset for 2 million for one turn, and her defenses will go down. So you'll be able to do more damage than normal. So basically what I did is I put my level 100 maxed out ruler Martha in the front, and I buffed her up using everything that I had, and then put her in the back line and brought out Jean and used the cancerous team of Jean, Merlin, Mash, and then Merlin died because Merlin always dies, and it became Jean, Mash, Waver, and I basically used that to make myself as invulnerable as possible. And of course, she also has a 3-notch Noble Phantasm bar, so you have to have something available to stop her Noble Phantasm that often. So basically, you stall her out, and you stall her out, and you stall her out, and you can't make a single wrong move, because if you do at the wrong time, your sustain will fall off, and then you'll get wrecked. Also, since she's an alter ego, you don't ever have type advantage against her, and she has type advantage against all cavalry classes. So that means pretty much all the support servants in the game are going to take double damage from her. So the exceptions being rulers like Jean and the Shield Kohai herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to walk this very, very fine line, and then as soon as the turn comes around that she's weak, you then bring out the servant you plug suited to the back again, and then all of the servants that you currently have on the front line still, who have buffs that have come up, plus your Mystic Code buffs that have come up, you will stack on top of the buffs that you put on her in the first turn, and then attack. And I just managed to do it. I did 2.2 million damage with Martha's Noble Phantasm, and managed to clear the fight that way. But boy, it's a marathon, and despite the fact that it's not like there's not a lot of damage being traded, not a lot of big hits taking place during the fight, it's still very, very tense, because if you make a mistake in your timing, use a skill at the wrong time, like the reason I screwed up my second attempt was because I used Jean's Noble Phantasm after Waver's Noble Phantasm, and I forgot Waver's Noble Phantasm will reduce her NP pips by 1. Meaning that my invincibility went off a turn too soon, and I had nothing for the next turn and got wiped out.
And just got squished.
So, yeah. But, yeah. I much, 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 much prefer those types of challenge quests, though, to the type which we're most likely to see in the next event, which is Moriarty's event. And since it's Moriarty, the challenge quest boss is most likely going to be Sherlock, who is a crit engine, basically. His Noble Phantasm doesn't even do damage, I don't think, but what it does is make him pierce all defenses, and he's a crit-based servant who just crits all the time. And I hate crit-based challenge fights, because you can't really strategize against them. There's no way to proof yourself against getting crit into oblivion, so you pretty much just have to start the fight over and over again until you get a good run where you don't just get your entire front line crit out of existence in the first turn.
Yeah.
I don't know the particular rules of this challenge quest, but it's liable to be a lot less fun to work through than King Protea was.
That would work against a crit hero would be hit point sponges.
There is no spongy enough, because you got to keep in mind that your health pools just don't scale the way damage does.
Yeah.
There's the reason why the bosses have millions of hit points while you only have a few thousand, despite the fact that you do damage at the same rate.
Yeah,
so, I have my girl Saber Shiki is the closest thing to a Saber hit point sponge there is, and she dies to crits.
Yes.
From somebody with class disadvantage, with no buffs, if a boss just particularly doesn't like her.
Am I?
You just don't have enough health in that game to scale with enemy damage.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't like those crit fights. That was part of the reason why I hated the final boss of Lost Belt 3 so much was because he was just a crit engine. Other people, like I saw a lot of people reporting that, oh, this is the easiest Lost Belt boss ever. Like we easily killed him, but that's because it's totally luck based, and my luck is not very good. So I had several attempts where I just lost multiple servants in the first turn, just to crits. So yeah, I don't like crit based fights. It's just heavily RNG, but other people don't seem to have problems with RNG the way I do. Well, you can't win them all. At any rate, the death march continues in that the Moriarty event will be beginning Monday server time, which I think is Tuesday my time, which means another event. We've been a constant series of events for months now. Everybody's just begging for a break. Although there are some people who, the moment that there is a day without an event running, they throw a tantrum. Oh, why is there no content? I don't know. Don't they have anything else to do with their day?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, just for reference,
Anyway.
by the way, highest hit points in the game is Vanilla John.
Yeah, if you decide to take her stats all the way to the top, you can reach about 20,000, I think. Roughly
16,500.
If grayling her did literally anything, but her attack scale is so bad with it, I would consider grayling her just because she has graced me with her presence up to NP5, and I'm now burning extra Shans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will kind of wish that I had that many Jeans, because she just doesn't hold up well with the power creep that's gone on. Like, the power creep in FGO is not as severe as it is in some games, but it has gotten pretty bad because it's been a lot of years now since that game started coming out.
Oh, there you go.
It's
highest max attack, by the way, is Jolter.
Yeah.
it would be.
Followed by King Protea.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the power creep. The power creep is bad enough that Jean is starting to look pretty bad. Like, First Emperor is pretty much just Jean, except better in like 90% of situations.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of servants that do John's niche at least as well as she does. I still use her for a lot of things because, well, she's the one I've got, and you just make do with the tools you've got to hand. But yeah, it's sort of disappointing to see these servants sort of fade from relevance, but they're still trying to catch up with some of the other servants which have just never really gotten their animation updates, or have never really gotten their stats buffed or whatever, their skills. So, but they're still marching out more and more strengthening quests and so forth. Like, for instance, servants that almost nobody uses, like what's his name? Nero's uncle, Caligula. Caligula got a strengthening recently and an animation update. And this animations actually look pretty cool now, but he's still Caligula, so he doesn't have much application.
So he's still bad.
Yeah. Amakusa got another update in the Japanese version, which I think means that he's one of only a handful of servants who have every single one of their skills had a strengthening, because they were so lackluster to begin with. But I think that Waver still holds the dubious honor of being the only servant who needed to have their core stats buffed. Because, I mean, everybody loves having Waver as a support. Like, he's one of the most popular supports of all time, probably always will be. But when he came out, his stats were so bad that he couldn't. His stats and skills are so bad that there was absolutely no reason to use him for anything. Like, he was one of the really bad servants. So it's just kind of ironic that he now sees ubiquitous use. And one of the servants who never ever gets dethroned from people's lineups. Yeah. I don't know that I really played much else. I haven't watched a great deal of anime really this week either. I mean, I've watched some. Most of them are continuing in their groove. The Spider one still hasn't done anything that I would describe as upsetting the paradigm. The story is moving very, very, very slowly. And even when things do happen, they're not things that affect, say, day-to-day life for the Spider. It's very.
she's just doing things.
Well,
Yeah.
I actually flicked it on for 3 episodes to get a feel for what the show was, because everything sounds like something I would enjoy with that show.
Mm-hmm.
But the only problem I really have with it is it feels like it's telling 2 stories at the same time, and they jerk you out of one of them. It's and throw you into the other one just when another one is getting somewhere.
There's an additional issue with that has only just come up in the latest episode, which is, how do I say? Have you seen the episode where the spider builds a house and it gets burnt down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That takes place 15 years before the classroom scene.
What?
Okay. Yeah, it was heavily implied that all these characters had grown up from childhood again in the new life.
But they don't ever really point that out, and you never actually get any kind of indication of the passage of time for the spider.
Yeah. Like, the closest we had was the guy that's now a girl is acting way too much like a girl out the gate. That's the only visual indicator that time has passed.
Yeah, he has been a girl for 15 years now, so, but, there's no indication of the passage of time. So you don't get any sense that the spider is actually born at the same time as all the rest of them.
So
yeah, it looked like she was born late. Like she was going to be 2 years old when all the adventurers are in their like late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, but they point out in the most recent episode that I watched that the elder brother of the sort of the obvious protagonist of the human characters, his elder brother has a scarf that was made out of Terratex silk, which is something that normally you can't get a hold of because it's only produced by a Terratect using the skill. You can't get it out of their bodies or anything like that. And that the scarf is made of super rare material, which was the only time that people had recently managed to acquire any of it was when somebody raided a Terratect nest 15 years ago and they managed to get a dragon egg. And it's implied that that particular egg hatches out into the girl who's a dragon familiar.
Yeah, she's adorable.
Yeah, but apparently she's the egg in that scene with the house burning down. So yeah, my sense of time has been royally screwed with by this show, and I don't know when anything is happening or anything like that. But yeah, that's all dealing with stuff in the past, though. As far as the present is concerned, still nothing is happening. Like there have been changes to the plot, but they are all informed events by and large. Like they are things that, this in this way, the state of the world has changed due to these occurrences, and everybody continues to live their daily life. So there's not really any sense of plot progression there at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's doing its thing. What I haven't watched is the most recent episode of Cells at Work Black.
Yeah,
because it sounds really depressing.
You should do that. Like last week, I mentioned how it takes the next step and just becomes seriously depressing. This next episode is worse, and it's shaping up.
Is it a finale?
No, not quite. There's one more episode yet. And that episode is going to very definitively be the finale. Because the plot went exactly where I thought it would, but hoped it wouldn't.
It sounds really depressing, though. I don't know if I want to actually.
Yeah, this is the bad timeline of Cells at Work. Yeah, all of the frilly silliness that comes from the vanilla series, it is gone by now. Like when the series, when Black first started, there was still a bit of that. But as it's gone on, there's been less and less silly. Now all that's left is depression.
Do we need more depression, really? Is it necessary?
Yes.
Yes. Apparently. So yeah. It is still a great series, but oh boy. Like, I'm going to spoil the episode. When the episode actually ends by showing a blood clot in the main artery, you're like, yeah, this is going to end the way I thought it would.
He could pull through.
Could.
No, just you watch. He's going to have a heart attack. They're going to resuscitate him. They're going to fix his heart and stuff a pig heart in there or something. And it's going to be K. He's going to be a new man. He'll change his life. He'll quit smoking or something. It's going to be the core message of the story.
Quit smoking. He'll change his job. He'll actually start sleeping. He'll eat properly. He'll exercise. He'll move occasionally.
Well, he'll need to get a new job for that.
Yeah,
the real happy ending is his company going out of business because their abusive work practices have been discovered.
Yeah, there is a story going on outside this body of a really, really depressed man
with erectile dysfunction.
Because they spend a whole episode talking about boners, then the clap. But
I don't know if I want to watch this series anymore.
At least they talk about the boners at least when things are still slightly silly. So it's all comparatively light.
Why does the white blood
comparatively
cell...
being the active word there?
Yeah. Why does the white blood cell have big boobies?
Yes.
Reasons.
Because they gender flip the characters from the other series.
Okay, because this one
only those two, really.
This one is ridiculous.
Cell is just hyper aggressive. Yeah. So it looks like actually the vanilla series, by the way, stopped at 8 episodes.
Yeah. I guess they thought it was getting boring. Because it was too happy.
Like, they had that main subplot going around of the lactic acid bacteria, but that's finished now.
Maybe they didn't have enough. Because it's essentially the same project, maybe they just had to split their budget up.
Yeah. So
it is edutainment after all. They don't get financed all that well.
That's true. So after you're going through Cells at Work Black, you no longer have that palate cleanser. Even though the last few episodes I've said palate cleanser were cancer.
When cancer is a step up, I mean...
Yeah, you got a problem. As for other anime, honestly, I'm still watching the Starter Town Boonies.
Yeah, I'm watching that as well. It's.
I couldn't honestly tell you anything that's happened in that show.
Well, it's kind of generic. It's just it's a silly comfort food anime. It's a fantasy story with an overpowered protagonist and a harem of girls who all like him, and he doesn't realize that any of them like him because he's got crippling self-esteem issues.
Yes. Although there's a giant snake involved in this last episode, and I'm not sure what it does, but it somehow ends up in the belts. I was watching it in bed, and I think I fell asleep halfway through the episode.
The only thing that I really remember about it actively is that the starting song is done by Kotoko, who did a lot of starting songs back in like the early 2000s when I first started watching a lot of anime.
Yep.
Like she did starting songs for lots of things. She was a really popular pop singer back then, and then sort of has disappeared off the map since because she's probably like 40 by now. but yeah. So that's the only thing I really recall about it in an active sense.
Which actually reminds me, I did watch the latest episode of Trash Taste Podcast where they had Nano on, and she's someone who's done a lot of really memorable intro songs for completely forgettable anime. So, go watch that if you're interested. So, I'm trying to think what else there was. I'm catching up on Slime as the dub is happening because I still don't have a
dub.
Well, I don't have a Crunchyroll sub at the moment because Crunchyroll is weird. Yeah, the dub is bad. Like half the cast sounds the same, frankly. And Rimuru is really annoying. And I think we're like, 10 episodes behind at this point?
I haven't heard the Slime Time dub, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I might have listened to it and already forgot, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah. Rimaru's dub voice is just annoying.
Well, it could be worse. They could have given him Nyanta's voice.
I prefer Nyant. Well, actually, that'd be quite funny. That voice coming out of the cute little slime.
What,
I mean, it's funny enough coming out of Nyanta.
The fact that Nyanta's a Harlem b-baller?
Yes. This cat is smooth. But
Would you say cat?
Catman.
Do you mean that colloquially? Or?
I mean, it fits both ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great voice. It just doesn't quite fit.
This is Nyanta pun I really want to make.
No, you can't make any. You aren't allowed to make any racial puns on this show, Aristeele.
No.
I want to do it so bad.
No, turn your mic off and do it.
Thou shalt not. Just go and shout into the hollow tree stump outside.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it out of my system.
Okay, good. Actually, there's a bunch of other stuff in this anime season which I still haven't gotten around to watching. And we're getting towards the end of it.
Yeah, we're at about 9 or so, week 9. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. When am I going to find time to watch all of that? Yeah. My goodness. And I haven't heard anybody say anything is really standout other than the spider one, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, it's been generally good. But why is my anime list telling me to go watch Kakaguri? I do not want people doing horrible things in their pants over gambling. Oh my goodness! I mean, I've just actually looked at the next season. And aside from
literally happened.
Aside from New Hero Academia, there is a side story of Slime Time where everyone is cute, and for some reason Ranga looks like a bear. What on earth is this?
How do you go from woof to bear?
By having a very weird animation style. So it's the Slime Diaries.
I see. I didn't know there was a thing like that.
Yeah, it's got 4 volumes of manga too, which it just looks like a silly side story. Hang on. The characters are all younger. Well, most of them are younger. So, no.
How does that make any sense?
I don't know. Because some characters look younger, especially Gobta, but not all of them. So I'm not sure what's going on here.
But when the characters were younger, most of them were a different species.
Yeah. So it doesn't fit.
Also, we should probably go to a break soon. We're in an hour and a half.
Yeah. We should.
Alrighty.
So, here's some music, folks. We will be right back. And we're back.
Yes, we are. You're a bit slow on that one.
I have food in my mouth.
You eat food? I thought you stopped eating food.
I've been starving the past few weeks. But now that
No,
I got
I
a
remember you
paycheck,
eating
I
a
have food
Lunchable.
now. Yeah, I got a paycheck again.
So, yeah, okay, it wasn't entirely voluntary then. Alright.
He ate a Lunchable. I heard him eat a Lunchable.
He had cookies earlier.
I did. They were candy
Heaven forbid
cookies.
you eat any food that is good for you after finally having a paycheck.
No. I'll work it off later. I'll play enough Beat Saber to work it all off. It'll be fine.
There you go. Exercise for nerds. Love it.
Exercise for weebs is more like it. Every single song on the list
yeah.
that isn't a mainstream track is all weeb garbage.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's
opening of some
world
anime. It was the same on Osu, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the more mainstream stuff that did make it on Osu tended to be really strange songs.
I mean, you could always try the Beat Saber song again.
We're playing
Stab.
Beat Saber. It's stuck in my head.
Yes.
Keep it buried, but it comes out sometimes.
You need to suppress that actively at all times.
When you have to...
Is that better or worse than constantly having Alex Jones in your head?
I usually think of Alex Jones to purge the we're playing Beat Saber.
That's worrying. So
Size them up.
you replace
Gonna haul them
really
up by a
bad
chain.
songs with gay frogs and conspiracies.
Size them up. Gonna haul them up by a chain.
Oh, that song. Okay. Yeah, all right.
So we were at Balls Week.
Disturbingly catchy.
It is.
Yeah, a lot of my week also consisted of that song echoing around my skull.
Yeah, about twice a month now, Vol will just message me random lyrics from that song.
It sticks. It sticks in your brain.
I, of course, endeavored to further stick it in his brain by continuing the song.
And then it just starts to come back all the time. Like, first it gets stuck in your head, and then it starts to, like, get stuck in the gears of your brain.
Yeah, there's no getting rid of it.
Anyway, I don't have much else to talk about, I don't think, because it was not a terribly busy week for me. I have been thinking about what I shall play after I get sick of Skyrim, because, you know, I finally got Dragon Rend and I'm like, you know what? I'm not really that interested anymore. But I'm still playing it, so I'll probably knock off the major quest lines. I'll probably do, like, Civil War, main storyline, Dawnguard, Dragonborn, and then I'll call it quits.
Yep.
But I don't know what I'm going to play after that, what I'm going to resume doing, since I'm not really actively participating in an MMO, which is my default.
We're kind of in a weird holding pattern for MMOs at the moment. Like,
yeah, well, we are
coming out is pretty bad.
What we're doing is we're realizing that we're not playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That's because that's normally what we would be doing, right?
Yep.
Much as I'm loath to admit it, it's sort of an institution.
It is.
And it's sort of weird when you're not playing it. And I would like to be playing Final Fantasy, but I can't ever convince anybody to play with me. And MMOs just... While I like playing MMO solo content, I don't like being the only one doing it, because most of the way I play games with other people is by talking about it with other people, which is part of why, like, I like Skyrim, I suppose, because it generates situations and things that you can talk to other people about. It doesn't need to be an MMO for me to fulfill the same purpose, because I play with other people by talking to them about the things that I play. But there's not really something that's... And as far as Final Fantasy 14 is concerned, I can't talk to these guys about it if they refuse to play it. But
I want to play it, but it just requires a lot of investment in multiple ways.
Active investment.
It is active investment.
I guess I don't really feel that. Like I don't. I find that it's a very generous MMO in a lot of ways, as far as that's concerned. Like everything about the way it's structured, I feel plays into the bite-sized thing.
Oh, it certainly does. It absolutely
So-
does. It's hard to quantify it exactly as to what we mean there.
When I play it, I have to go against my nature in when I'm playing the game.
Because you can't do everything.
It's literally impossible to do everything.
It is a very frustrating feeling to play a game against the way I want to play the game. Because I will just want to sit there and power through everything nonstop and just keep going. And there's two impediments to that. One, my job has gotten more intense, so I can't do that anymore. Number two,
fishing is a secondary skill.
Yes.
And you will not rest until the fishing is maxed out. I've never done very much fishing in Final Fantasy. It's my lowest skill level class, I think. Because of the fact that I don't really understand it, and learning how to do it well is a huge amount of effort, because you got to know lots of locations and that sort of thing, and how to mooch, and how to catch a fish and then use the fish that you just caught as bait to catch a bigger fish rather than actually collecting the fish you originally caught, and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans involved in skills in Final Fantasy 14, but that's what I like about it. There's lots of shenanigans involved in everything. Problem is, I just don't want to play it by myself, because I can't talk about those things with other people if I'm the only one playing.
I admit there's an MMO I'd really like to play, which is Ashes of Creation, but that's like 3 years away yet.
No, it's not out. So no, we're not going to play it.
That's not going to work.
But and honestly, there haven't been many MMOs that have come out recently that haven't been a real damp squib. Like that.
Well,
that
actually,
New World one.
We're going to have Bless Reawaken, or whatever it is, coming up on PC very soon.
Well, Bless was catastrophe when it came out.
Yes, it was, because it was awful. And if you play the remastered version on consoles, you have horrible input lag. But apparently the PC version's actually good. Or at least not catastrophically awful.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, so I don't have a thing that I'm going to play necessarily ready to go. But I've got an awful lot of JRPGs to play. Though for me, JRPGs are sort of the way Ari describes everything, in that I just want to monomaniacally focus on the one thing to the exclusion of everything else. When I'm playing a JRPG, I don't want to be distracted by anything, but IRL keeps getting in the way. I really need to take a holiday. I've got so much paid leave built up.
Yeah.
But
play Shadow Hearts again, because I might send you that way if there's a way to actually play it. I don't think so. It's firmly on the PS2.
Everything is on the PS2.
Yeah, it's
all
like
the good
Shin
stuff.
Megami Tensei, except not.
Are the different Shadow Hearts games related to each other in any way?
The first two, well, they are. The first two are direct sequels from each other, and then the third one's kind of off on its own, which is Covenant.
Right, that's the sort of Western one, isn't it?
No, hang on. Covenant was the second one. Was it New World? Hang on, I need to look up.
At any rate, I never played any of those. I was sort of.
I watched a YouTube video on them recently.
By the time I became sort of actively aware of their existence I might actually want to play this sort of way, the PS2 generation had ended. So
yeah, that's an excellent game series. Even though the ring mechanic does seem to get a bit contrived occasionally.
Yeah, that's basically the reason why I haven't made much progress on the Trail franchise, is simply because I want to block out a huge chunk of time to focus on it.
Yep.
And I don't have huge chunks of time. I don't know where Ari gets his huge chunks of time, because he always seems to have huge chunks of time. But
takes setup.
Well, I also lose a lot of time to commuting.
That's true.
There's also
my commute is very difficult.
My job is nothing but commute.
I filmed my entire commute and posted. I filmed my entire commute and posted it to our YouTube channel. You can go dig it out.
He walked across the backyard.
Yeah. Walked across 2 yards.
Anywho.
I don't have anything else to talk about.
All right.
So let's talk mean Crift properly.
So yeah, we'll blitz through my week. Non-mean Crift stuff, not a lot. I really was, I didn't feel like I was super busy this week, but I seemed to spend a lot of time in the office just doing miscellaneous junk that needs doing around this time of year. And my CPA died.
Yo, what?
I'm sorry, what?
Our person that does the taxes. So the person that I do all the accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes for the business for the state level, and then submit that to the CPA, who then does whatever magical wooja needs doing for the federal government, which is several forms and documents and multitudes of stacks of pages long. And I give them $2,000 and they take care of that for me. They died.
Right.
This past year of non-corona related respiratory complications during a routine surgery.
I think there are a lot of non-COVID related respiratory conditions that are being recorded as COVID related respiratory conditions, though.
Yeah, that it was very odd that his obituary specifically went out of the way to state that.
Oh yeah, that seems to be mandatory now. Anytime someone dies of respiratory complications, it's got to be. They've got to ensure it's not COVID.
Well, no, it was. You would expect the opposite, especially in my area. They'll milk that as far as they go, but just for some reason, his obituary read non-COVID related respiratory conditions that occurred during a routine checkup and needed surgery, which did not succeed in saving his life or something like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually know him very well at all. Like, I talked to him once, but his employee named Candace, who's a very nice lady, and I wish her well wherever she's working now, is now working for some mega firm that I can't afford. So I cannot continue to be Candace's customer, so I had to go shopping for a new CPA.
So it was like a little small accountancy business or something.
Yeah, and they helped with the federal tax conversions. And $2,000 for somebody to do the federal filing for an entire company is a steal.
Yeah.
I still have to do the majority of the legwork and gathering all the data and keeping books all year, but not having to fill out all that paperwork that would take days.
He's got to do all the dealing with the IRS bits.
Yeah, and making sure I don't fall into any legal pitfalls is very helpful. And I'll happily pay $2,000 out of the company account and tell the boss it's necessary because holy crap, there's so many pitfalls.
When we conquer America, can we just get rid of the IRS?
Yes.
Oh, that's the first thing. Every single one of their heads are first on the chopping block.
Oh no, there's heads that need to go first.
I don't know. The IRS is the facilitator for most of their crimes. Followed by the FBI.
Chop it out at the root first.
So, yeah. Free America Together aside. It's been just a very weird week because I've had to do a whole lot of miscellaneous junk, shopping for a new CPA, getting our books together for when I do eventually find a new CPA, realizing that I didn't file stuff in September that I needed to file and need to go get that filed now, and having to stop what I'm doing and do that on top of my normal work stuff. But none of it felt particularly pressing. Like, it's all stuff that I could just kind of chug along and do. So while I was many hours in the office, none of it felt particularly burning. I guess because I only had to go to one job site this week. And I don't know why people do this. I've talked about this every time somebody does this. Yet another person had the bright idea. I have a problem with my product. I'm going to call the salesman and ask them to come over and help me fix it.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you the same thing that everyone should know that I told Ari. The salesman will tell you exactly the same solution, no matter what company or what salesman.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know exactly what his solution's going to be. Yeah. I don't even need to look at the problem.
Buy a new
you
one.
need to buy a new control panel. Yeah, you need to buy a new one.
Buy a new one.
Is that what you tell them?
Yes,
yeah.
He's a salesman.
Yeah, so why are you bothered by this? This is just more money in the bank, isn't it?
I know. It boggles my mind that they would trust me.
You sort of have a vested interest in selling more parts, don't you?
Yeah,
it's literally his job.
I mean, to be fair, this control panel was like 1 billion years old. And it was not the one like last week. This one was even more billion years old, and the last one was 1 billion years old.
Oh my!
I'm like, yeah, we could try and fix it, but there's a chance it won't work. This thing's so old, you really should just buy a new one. And actually, the best solution this time was you should just buy a new one, because I didn't have a clue what parts were rotted on that thing.
All of them.
Yes, it looked like it.
So what you're saying is that you don't sell servicing programs.
Oh, I offer my services. My services just always have the same solution.
It's like walking
It's
into
not
an
my-
Apple store.
Well,
and expecting
no,
to
I
fix
mean, like,
something.
Well, I mean, like when you buy in my industry, let's say, when you buy an expensive piece of equipment, you then usually you will pay an ongoing contract so that you basically have a technician dedicated to making sure that the thing is in ship-shape order.
We provide a clause that allows them to request a technician to come out for free, and then he calls me and says, "Come make us some money."
I see. So this is like when I was an undergrad, a friend of mine had a minor car accident. Like he hit a sapling in a car park or something. You know how for some reason they plant trees in the middle of car parks? I'm not quite sure why, but he hit one of those and wrecked up some of the plastic work on the front of his car, and he wanted it fixed because he didn't want to harm the resale value of the car. So he went to the it was a Ford Mondeo, and he went to the Ford outlet to ask how much.
There's mistake number one.
Okay, with
Let
the
me
dealer.
finish. He went to the Ford outlet to ask how much they would charge to fix it, and he got a quote. And then he went down the road to the local plastic welding place and got a quote which was half the size. And he's like, but those guys just told me they needed twice as much to do it. And he said, yeah, and they were going to subcontract to us and keep the difference.
Yep, there you go.
Uh-huh.
So, it pays to look closer at what you're actually buying.
Well, just look who you're buying it from is the lesson here. There are middlemen and services that will just do what you're asking for cheaper if you just go digging around a bit.
Yeah. And rule number one for cars is unless you have warranty, don't go to the dealer.
Yeah. We have this with what we call wholesalers, where we're actually the good guy in this scenario. If they come to us first, we can sell directly to them. But if a wholesaler takes the contract, then they're going to mark it up even more to the customer, quote them twice what we would quote them, and then take the difference as their cost when we sell it to the wholesaler.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I think there's a rim on my car I need to replace one of these days, and the dealer quoted like $350 to do it, and I bet you I could find it online for like 20.
Unfortunately, what my car needs is actual services because I need wheel alignment badly. It's getting wobblier and wobblier.
Yeah, you can't do that on your own. You need the proper machinery.
That sounds like a tie rod's busted.
Well, this sounds like a case of old car that hasn't been serviced in a while.
Yeah,
it's been about 18 months since it was serviced or something like that, and it was. I don't think it was that great shakes when I bought it. Like it's always been a little bit iffy in some ways. But I think it's a bit tired. It's got uneven wear on one of the tires, so that's why I think it's a bit out.
Yeah.
Well, stop driving during earthquakes.
Then I wouldn't be able to drive at all. We just had one last week, remember?
Yeah.
Or this week past. And that's why they put us all under tsunami warning. Well, everybody in the North Island was.
I love that ring.
So yeah, we had an 8.1 up north, like near Auckland, I think. Way up there anyway. But it was sufficiently strong that it woke me up at the opposite end of the country.
That's a good earthquake.
Yep.
So yeah. So that's what I've done for my non stuff. I played maybe an hour and a half. Strikers, all the content we mentioned before, hour and a half, 2.5 hours tops.
Yeah.
Not that far into the game at all. For the impressions I got, which is why I'm hesitant to give full opinions on the game.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was spent in Minecraft.
Yeah, I'm at about 4 hours in that game, and one of those hours like is the post first palace, first jail blather.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to go through all that.
Yeah, there are Persona level cutscenes where they go on for a while in this game.
And a lot of it was ultimately because Let's go on a road trip.
Yeah.
So, is the scenario like the way they left it, in that, oh well, the story is over now and now the main character is going to go to school somewhere else?
That's how it was, yeah.
I think so.
How does everybody end up back together again then?
They're all meeting up for summer holiday.
He's
anyway.
back in town. Yeah.
So they use the
He's
same
back in
sort of
town for a
excuses
holiday.
in P4A.
Yeah, basically.
Mhm. It was Golden Week in P4A, I think.
Yeah, it was Golden Week for P4A, and this is just summer holiday. Everyone's meeting up to go and do stuff.
This is
they were
the thing,
gonna have a barbecue.
I never really got a good grasp of, like, does the character they added in Royale, like the major character they added in Royale, does that personality wise, does she fit into the team balance well? Or does she feel like an extra? Because I know that they had written a lot of material for other major characters that just never made it into the game originally. So
yeah, they do pretty good with her because she. What's a good way to describe this?
Sounds like she's just the skeptic.
Well, she's introduced at various points throughout the game, but never joins the party. Her whole shtick is she doesn't want to join the Phantom Thieves because she thinks what they're doing is bad. Like, that's her whole shtick. And until the very final chapter, where unambiguously the bad guy needs to be stopped no matter what.
Yeah.
She finally relent and say, okay, I'll work with you guys. And she only shows up to pull Joker's butt out of the fire during one instance. So, yeah, she fits in just fine because she's not treated as a proper character until the post-game, and as far as a party member is concerned, but she still has plenty of character moments built up throughout the rest of the game, because you can still social link with her semi-normally. She's just not a party member until the very last chapter.
Right.
But the last chapter is really, really long, so she's with you for quite a while. So, yeah, that's the deal with her. What else? Yeah. So yeah, that's Strikers there.
Yeah, we've already gone on at length about that.
Yeah. So Minecraft was the other thing that happened. Like I mentioned before, the old server was horrible. The controls were bad. I didn't take a picture or anything, or really even bring it up at the time, because the payment was going to lapse and nobody's really playing on that server anymore anyway. So yeah, I just decided not to pay for that server anymore and just let it die. And when we were playing Terraria, Abo decided he wanted to try Minecraft for the first time ever, and he actually bought a game himself for full price to play with us on a whim.
Oh,
this never happens.
It's not very Abo.
This never happens. So I'm like, all right.
Well, I'm sort of surprised that he never tried it. I don't know why that surprises me, but it does.
He said he thought it was just a game for kids because it was all on all the kiddie YouTube channels. And he just never gave it a chance
because it was free money.
But that is still true.
Yes, it is.
So he just never tried it, I guess. And yeah, he decided he wanted to play, and friends like, oh yeah, Minecraft. It's another build 'em up. I could play Minecraft. So I went and bought a new server, and originally this was going to cost me $55 for a quarter, and that was way too much. So I dug around a little bit, and it turns out this website has like permanent discount codes. So I got it down to sub $10 a quarter, or sub $10 a month. So it's just under $30 for a quarter, which is way more reasonable for a server host. And have booted it up, and this one's API actually works, and its mod packs actually work, and its admin configuration actually works, and it doesn't lag anymore. Mm-hmm. So we've been having a lot of fun playing around, and we got much further than we did on the other server. And Abo has infinite free time. I do not have infinite free time. I still have to go to work. And so what will happen is I'll come on the server about 7 o'clock in the evening, and there will be some new contraption or new thing he's built on the server that he spent all day working on.
That looks like a duck.
Well,
that was the first one.
One of the one looks like a duck. Although we do have the Mallard's train network now.
Yeah, he embraced the duck, and much like
Sounds like
Subaru,
he embraced the wiki too.
You've got to embrace the wiki.
so he embraced the wiki, and he embraced the duck moniker I gave his tower, and has named his tower Mallard Industries HQ.
But he didn't believe you that it looked like a duck.
It looks kind of
Once
like
I sent him, once I sent him a picture, he's like, "Oh yeah, it totally looks like a duck."
You see it from the wrong angle, and it looks like a duck.
If you see it from the top of my castle, it looks like a Jewish duck with a yarmulke on its head.
Yeah, the hat's new.
Yeah, I don't think that was there before.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to continue the castle project I started on the other server and dig out in the middle of a giant lake and build a big old honking castle with several thousand cobblestone. And this has occupied my building time in the game. And Fern has built some kind of opulent little mountain house.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep working on it.
Yeah, it's you'll probably see it on his screen. He's on Mount Fern, as it's been dubbed, back behind the house.
I mean, by the time I ended the stream that's on at the moment, it's getting nearly finished.
Yeah, so we have the house on Mount Fern. We have my castle, which still looks like a square block. I've got to find a way to fix that. I don't have a visual or architectural brain. It's not how my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's short brain on the best of days, but it really doesn't have a
brain works.
Yeah, it does not have a setting for visual anything. It's just not in there. I could never be an engineer. So yeah, it's been an interesting time going through and rediscovering everything in Minecraft again proper. We've already got the server back up past the point it was at the old server. The only thing missing is Vol's underground, whatever he was doing.
It was quite the vast space.
Yes.
I don't know if I can be bothered carving out that much space again.
You don't necessarily have to do that, but you can do something.
Yeah, you can just have my mine, my abandoned mine, and start from there. The hollow earth has been completely carved out.
There's a hole already pre-diggied.
Yeah,
that basically means there's no game left to play.
I've pre-diggied the biggest hole. It took many diggies, and eventually I did what I always do in these games, as foreshadowed in the ways of Octail and Hordak. I got fishing.
Yeah.
And on my first fishing rod, I was cursed to fish forever.
Yeah.
Because I got an infinite fishing rod with Luck of the Sea and lure on it that I fished out of the water. And so
all you're going to get is good stuff.
And the fishing rod is infinite, so the fishing can never end. There is no burning out the fishing rod. There is just more fishing. So yeah, that's Bane of Arthropods 4.
Great if you want to go beat up spiders.
So yeah, that's been a thing. Yeah, I've just been fishing up spellbooks, and I have a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're supposed to be rare.
Yeah. Let me just take a picture of the current spellbook chest.
This is in addition to what you've been doing during the show, I assume?
Oh, I only caught 3 during the show because I logged out for a bit, because I had this little icon from when the looters showed up.
Only, he says.
Let's see. So yeah, this is what all the spellbooks I've caught this week in about 8 hours of fishing. That's what the majority of my time has gone into.
Yeah.
That's a lot of spellbooks. With all kinds of flavors of enchants in them.
Yep.
So we made 2 infinite diamond picks. We managed to get Mending Unbreaking 3 twice. And I figured out all these bows and stuff I'm fishing out are actually useful. You can rub them on other items to upgrade the enchants.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I've had to start saving all those.
I don't understand what that means.
You can mash items of the same type together to repair the original item and transfer any enchants on the base item to the main item, or on the sacrificed item to the main item. And if they're of the same type, it ranks it up.
I see, sort of.
So yeah, it's a whole lot of complicated tomfoolery that basically means I can do a whole lot with enchanting now, which is what I've been playing around with.
Almost got that maxed out enchanting table.
I just want to dig a hole.
You can dig a hole. Or you could get invested in alchemy if you really want to.
I want to make a really big hole.
I mean...
Or you could go fight a dragon. Or
There's
whatever
a lot
the
to
hell the wither is.
Usually what I do is I just try and make the surface world except under the ground.
So yeah, we did not spawn in the jungle. I figured out why it was raining so much on the other server. We were in a jungle biome.
Yeah.
We are in a desert biome.
It looked like a jungle biome. I guess it was... I thought it was like on the coast near some trees, not actually in the jungle.
Nah, the jungle was
still
like right there.
So it counted. That's why it rained all the time. Now we're in the desert. Well, we're in the border between the desert and the savannah. So we landed somewhere in North Africa.
It even rained in my cave because I kept accidentally poking holes in the bottom of the lake.
This is unwise.
So yeah.
Well, it's just like it kept happening. Like I'd be mining around and then I get hit in the head with a clump of sand and it's like, oh no, no! Quick, build a dike.
Everything is wet.
Ooh, Depth Strider 3. I got scuba boots.
Scuba boots.
Oh, I got scuba boots enchants.
Nice.
Dang it! My enchanted bow and fishing pole chest is full.
Huh.
The double one.
Huh. You might want to do something about that.
Yeah, so this is what happens when you fish too much. What does the icon with 2 crossed axes and an angry pillager face on it mean? I thought I killed all the pillagers.
I'm not sure. I think it's... No, hang on. Have we still got pillagers hanging around?
Maybe. But don't get on now. It'll crash with OBS running.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump in the game.
Yeah, that's why I logged out before, because I wasn't sure what that icon meant. But yeah, we spent a lot of time diggy hole. We made a bit of progress. Now we're on to the build cool stuff part of the game.
Yep. Before we go and do the let's go kill a boss type thing part of the game.
Yep. That's not a very big part of the Minecraft game.
No, you've got, what, 2 bosses? The Ender Dragon and the Wither, and I think that's it.
Yeah, so I've just been breeding Fern's cows and slaughtering them.
Yeah.
And
being horrible to my cows.
Why are you man?
Because I need the cow's leather to turn into books.
Can't you like bind them in orc skin or something?
No, it has to be bound in cow leather. It's the only way. The souls of dead cow bees are the only way to get the necessary leather to make books that I can enchant in the enchanting table.
The vampires crashed Markarth and killed half civilians again. Crying out loud. Why do they keep doing this? I need to go do Dawnguard. It's starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah, I try to avoid letting the vampire trigger go too early in the game, because otherwise they just get really annoying. And then you just had to go and do Dawnguard.
Come on. Resurrect. Crying out loud. Who am I going to buy ingots from?
Nobody. Get to mining.
And the apprentice blacksmith is also dead. Good grief. Console, come to my aid.
Why is there a cow in the sheep pen?
Reasons?
Anyway, these are questions you too can find the answers to if you join our Minecraft server in the announcements board.
Yes.
So yeah, that's really it. Not a whole lot of substance to my week. Just goofing around in Minecraft, and because it's really easy to goof around in Minecraft. and working.
Yep.
Right. So, I guess, do we have any emails or newses?
There's a few little bits and pieces around the place.
Did anybody check the email?
Yes, nothing there today.
I'm gonna double check in a sec. But yes. Crap. Where's my browser I use for the show email? There it is.
I don't know.
When did this go in? February 21st? Okay, that's last week. We're
That's
good.
last week, yes. Okay, so little bits of news. Let me pop up the channel and we'll have a look. So one quick little nugget that's related to something we covered in before. The whole Terraria Google Stadia thing is apparently back on now.
Yeah, I imagine the dude is not too happy about that.
Yeah, but
that sounds like a lawyer came in and said, hang on.
this is literally going to be the only game worth playing on this platform.
No. It's like, if you back out of this deal, look at this clause right here. I bet you dollars donuts. That's what happened.
There's a good possibility of that, unfortunately. Does it actually say? But I don't believe it does.
There's a reason why no one likes lawyers.
So yeah, the in summary of the story is Terraria is back on Google Stadia. He's not pulling it. And it's very abrupt because he sounded very final with his initial message.
Oh yeah, it was in black and white because we will not do any further business with your platform. Full stop.
Why would you do business with their platform to begin with?
Well, he was saying not doing business with Google.
Yeah.
He was done. He was ticked off.
I see. I wish more people would all get ticked off at Google simultaneously and pull their support.
It sounds
So,
like there's nothing. Everything that's actually been officially said on it is fairly, generic. But it seems like there's been a bit of a push on both sides. Like Google finally got off their ass and actually sorted out Relogic's accounts. So I guess if you make enough noise and really poop in someone's salad, then they will actually listen to you. Or at
Well,
least
that's been
pay attention to you.
That's been the case forever.
I needed.
No, you don't.
That's been the case forever, though. You just got to poop in enough salad and be loud enough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure why they bothered because Google Stadia is a giant poop salad.
Why are you doing this?
Because I have to ruin somebody's salad. I have to ruin salad for everyone. So, while we're on that, let's keep talking about Stadia and mocking Stadia. So, Stadia has had loads and loads of projects cancelled. Loads upon loads.
Yeah, Stadia's on its way out.
When is Stadia going to get cancelled?
I think they're just trying their absolute hardest to keep it above, or keep it floating, because they missed their marks, or their targeted uptake mark by a huge margin.
Yeah, they targeted like half the population probably because they thought they had a real winner or something stupid, and then they got nobody.
Yeah, they're saying the targeted sales were 100,000 or several 100,000 short.
Yeah, if you discount the influencers that were given free Stadias, their sales were 0.
Near enough to, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, like only people talking about Stadia were influencers, unless it was people ragging on it.
Yeah, and then there was a few people who were genuinely curious or genuinely thought it was a good idea. Those people,
I don't know,
a very minor majority.
Minority.
Yeah, that word. I can't words.
No, you can't.
I cannot words. Because, I mean, Stadia launched like it had nothing worth playing on it. It had an endless list of tech issues. The games that were actually interesting and worthwhile playing on it were already out on other consoles and had been for quite some time. So, yeah. I mean, everyone had told Google that Stadia was a bad idea. It would be dead on arrival.
But they didn't listen.
They didn't listen. They even stopped their own in-house development studio for Stadia at the start of the month.
Yep, I think we mentioned that on the show.
Yep, they're not making their own stuff anymore. And Kojima apparently had a game on here, so presumably they offered him an embarrassing amount of money.
I mean, that's the only thing Google's got.
Is embarrassing amounts of money.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, their service these days is horrible. Their name is practically mud to anybody that pays attention to the news.
Oh yeah, nobody really wants to deal with Google.
Well,
But
that
unfortunately, a lot of cases
doesn't
you have
matter.
to.
It doesn't matter if nobody wants to deal with them. The fact is that most people are already completely ensconced in the Google ecosystem. Like, they own so many things now, and quite frankly, when it comes to their software in things, they have the best offerings, generally speaking. Like, they just do a good job of the stuff they design a lot of the time, a disturbing amount of the time, unfortunately. So it's very hard to just drop them. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
Where are you going to go? There's nobody's got the money to be a competitor on that scale because Google owns so much.
And even if you could, the hard part is getting everybody to move across. Or anybody, because everything's already in Google and it's already there to use.
It's the Microsoft problem where they have everybody and all their standards are entrenched in like what Microsoft does. So you can't get anybody you can't build another OS. Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to get anybody to move off Microsoft Word as a standard unless you're Google and have even more money.
Yeah, because a lot of people use Google Docs because it works.
Yeah, I have to use Google Docs. My entire industry uses it and I hate it.
Yeah, everybody. That's like the cloud service. There's the Microsoft one as well if you really want to go that route, but yeah, nobody does.
How do I tame a cat?
That's a bit complicated.
Feed it salmon? You said it chases off creepers.
Yeah, you get fish, and then you just hold the fish and stand in one place until the cat comes to you. Then you feed it. If you try and chase it, it'll run away.
Okay. Because it was running away.
So anyway, Google Stadia continues to die. There's actually quite a lot of information about there from the staff, which I'm not going to go into, and some very interesting quotes from members of the staff of Stadia. Not to mention a few leaks from Google's CEO, which, but a lot of those leaks are basically saying that we don't have confidence in this product. So yeah, you can do a bit of digging on that if you really want to. All right, who wants to talk about the next topic?
I'm currently trying to repair my Skyrim game.
What
is the next? Well, it's not about a new mod. It's about the number of NPCs that died and my attempts to use the console to reactivate them.
Ah.
Why you do this to me, Skyrim? What's the next topic? What are we talking about?
Who remembers Artifact?
I forgot this existed, so I read about it again.
Card game, right?
Yeah, it was Steam's answer to Hearthstone. Honestly, I thought this game was still in beta, but apparently it's not getting any more content. So there's that. Does anyone actually play it? I wonder. Let's see, Steam charts. Let's ask the internet and see what they say.
The cat sleeps on top of you in Minecraft!
Yep.
You're exceptionally excited about this.
It's so cute!
There's people still playing it. Not as many as there used to be, but yeah, it's about 300 people there. 300, 400. So that's just looks like it's a game that's run the end of its life cycle, I guess. When did it actually launch? 2018. December 2018.
Man, does it bother you that Hearthstone is like 7 years old now?
Yes.
Yes.
I posted a picture of our new cat.
Would you name him? Have you named him yet?
Nope.
You need to name him. He's so kitty.
Do I just take a name tag and slap it on him?
Yep.
It's not working.
We'll worry about it later.
Oh, I just punched him.
Don't punch a kitty! You monster. What other little bits and pieces do we have? The only other little bit I've able to found this week is an announcement of the NIS Classics. The Prinny Collection, or whatever they're calling it. I'm wondering how many of these games are actually going to work. You've both zoned out, haven't you?
I'm trying to find an earlier save where not everybody is dead.
I'm trying to figure out how to open the chest that Tigger is currently sitting on top of. Because, I had to name him Tigger. It was the closest thing I could get that was show appropriate.
Good grief.
We're just paragons of professionalism right here. Like, you won't find better than us. We are top blokes.
You need to multitask better.
Okay, what were we talking about?
The NIS Prinny Pack.
Oh, yes.
So it's got Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. It's got Phantom Brave, the Bermuda Triangle remaster. And that's it for the first pack. They're calling this Volume 1. Did these games ever actually get released in the West?
Phantom Brave sounds familiar, but I don't think so. I never played any of these.
I'm not sure. They sound familiar enough that I might think that they do, but
yeah. So it's $99, which will get you both of the games, soundtracks, art books, collector's coins, and a box.
And a box.
And the box. Why? Stop advertising the box as a feature.
They always do.
Yeah.
Does it say it's a premium box?
No, it's just a box. Oh, it's a collector's box, if you want to be specific about it.
Okay, so it is a premium box.
Well,
I don't think that there is much of. Is there really much of a box collectors community? Like, is that a thing?
There must be.
Hey, Burning Crusades and Wrath of the Lich King served me for years as my desktop mounts. They kept my monitors propped up.
That's not what they're supposed to do.
Until I got better monitors. I just replaced them in December of last year, so they had a good run.
Oh dear. So Phantom Brave looks like it's basically Disgaea. Even looks like Disgaea. And it's got Prinnies in it.
Well, Prinnies are like in every NIS game. They're their official mascot and crossover character.
Yeah, anything that's got an art style that's fits, they put Prinny in it. So, yeah. Anyway, we're grasping at straws here because there's really nothing we're talking about this week.
Yeah, and I can't fix my Markarth either.
Markarth is doomed. So much doom.
The banners are already stuck as these things which have the banner texture, but instead of the emblem of Markarth, they've just got Markarth written on them in green.
I've never run into that.
It's obviously a placeholder texture.
Yes.
I don't know why it's showing up or how to make it not. Everything is too hard.
How do you even fix that?
I don't know. Everything in Markarth is doomed. I think I need to abandon the city.
Well, to be fair,
oh, here comes the courier.
Yeah, it's Markarth.
I dread seeing the courier. I usually use Markup as one of my main bases because I got into the habit in my first playthrough when it was the first large house that I got.
Okay.
But I dread seeing the courier show up because every time the courier shows up, he hands me another inheritance letter, which means that another plot relevant NPC has died somewhere in the world. Oh my goodness! Why can't they just make? There must be a mod somewhere around that makes all important NPCs not die.
Yeah, there is. But
Oh my
I really
goodness.
do like how you get an inheritance from an NPC you've talked to maybe once.
Well, anytime you do anything for them, then they get flagged as being as like a notch higher on the relationship chart. So
Yeah.
you end up getting inheritance from them if they die. It's just that for me, that's a signal that somebody has died somewhere, and I need to work out how and why they did. Like my Riverwood is in a really bad shape right now. If you go to the crossroads in Riverwood, there's just a pile of dragon corpses, cultist corpses, and vampire corpses there, and thieves. It's just like every time I go through Riverwood, one of these things attacks, and the middle of the town is just a mortuary now.
Don't go there for a week and let it clean up. That's the only way I can do it. That said,
And it's just like, as what always happens every time there's corpses around. It's just like everybody is just sort of standing in the town centre, staring at it, commenting on it.
Oh, the corpses! Why is this pile keep getting bigger?
It's ridiculous. My goodness.
Oh dear. I probably should dust off Skyrim again and pick up where. Actually, no. It's hard to pick up where I left off. I just don't
Because
want
he
to
has
say
so
it.
many mods that the game completely destabilized.
No. I'm actually fairly good on that front at the moment because I haven't triggered any specific events. So I don't have the constant problems you do. Although I do have a pile of dragons in Solitude.
I don't know what I did to trigger some of these things. Like I don't know what activates a lot of them. They just sort of seem to happen. Like I know that you can avoid the cultist one by just not talking to them the first time. But the Dawn Guard guy shows up and announces dragons are coming no matter what. I mean, vampires are coming no matter what you do.
Yeah,
So
but somehow I've avoided that actually kicking off vampires turning up every 5 minutes.
yeah, I think that the way you do that is you basically you avoid spending much time in Whiterun.
Yeah, that might be it. I don't spend a whole lot of time in Whiterun. Usually I go in there, do whatever I had to do, and just leave straight away.
That's where the Dawn Guard recruiter will come and try and shill his crazy cult to you.
Yes. And he seems to live behind Bree's home, just in case you're wondering.
Fern, I'm going to put this ominous banner by your house.
But why?
What's so ominous about it?
It stares.
That's what it's called. It's called ominous banner.
Yeah, it's just the Illager banner. It's just a banner with a grumpy face on it. It doesn't do anything, as far as I know. It's just a grumpy face.
I'm just wondering if it's what's causing this stupid debuff in the upper right corner of my screen.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we should probably wrap up then before we start blithering.
I'm pretty sure that this ship has sailed on that one.
This has been our rambliest show in weeks or months.
I feel like there should be something happening, but like, I mean, it's been demonstrated through, say, this is not really an ideal example, but through BlizzCon Line, if they want to call it that, because they are cringe. Like that scenario that they presented is evidence of like the excessive shambles that a lot of games companies are in right now because of their general maladaptation to the new circumstances of, you know, COVID-based dominion over people's lives by their local governments. Like, especially with the businesses that are located in California, where they have, you know, the madness that is Governor Newsom, and I don't think that a lot of those code monkeys who are confined to their shoebox-sized houses in California, because that's all that you can afford there, are going to be in the best sort of state to be highly productive. And so, like, we saw, I keep saying like, I feel like I'm turning into a valley girl. You see this scenario at BlizzCon where they have basically nothing to show. Nobody was excited about that. People were mainly mad at it because everything that they announced, there was some reason to be annoyed about it. And in terms of raw content, there wasn't much. World of Warcraft is still their freaking flagship, believe it or not. My goodness, after all this time.
That BlizzCon was just a massive damp squib.
Like, what did they show, content-wise, for their flagship? Nothing! There was nothing there. They announced the patch that everybody knew was coming and knew half the content already. But this is sort of a microcosm of what a lot of major gaming companies will be going through right now, because they are located in expensive areas a lot of the time. People are locked in their houses, which are proportionally smaller relative to the cost of rent in that particular region, and everybody's going stir crazy. If you happen to be in a state which is locked down all the time, you're going to go bonkers, and your productivity in the home office environment is not necessarily going to be great. People who live out in the burbs who have large, nice houses, maybe that's not the case, but in these centers of software development, that's really not the case. So while we would like there to be lots of news, and it feels like we're due to have lots of news, there's not really a lot going on because the centers of development like Silicon Valley are still shut down. And while all the indies run around having their new springtime, the major companies are just biding their time and hoping that they won't be bankrupt by the time they're allowed to do some work again.
Unless you're Team Cherry because you live in Victoria and you're even more screwed than the people in California.
But only sometimes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we should probably start wrapping up. All right. Closing comments go.
I need to go make a fish tank, I think, in Minecraft.
I need to finish Skyrim and put it down.
I need
Is that sodding courier again? Go away! No!
I need to do a lot of things to some people in the US in Minecraft.
Please don't.
In Minecraft.
Just gonna build some effigies. Give me a minute. Give me a few weeks. There'll be a great burning and bombing. I am perfectly mentally healthy. You shut your mouth. All right, folks.
All right, let's get it.
We're done. We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.